All right, I think we're ready to get started here. So, been about a week and some change, probably. I have been working on this game project from the very serious game Jam Still. I won't pretend that a lot has changed, but enough differences have been made to where, it's worth going over what I worked on off stream. Luckily, I did document that through here. So I think during the last stream, which was on the 29th of June, um, we made it to where the boss only attacks if the player's in range, and if they're out of range, they will move forward. We added a cinematic effect to the boss's special move. We randomized the attack patterns. We added player knockback on taking damage. And then we fixed a few bugs with the bosses. Or bosses? With the boss fight. So honestly, it was a pretty good dev stream. The very next day, I worked for a couple hours. It wasn't a whole lot of work, but I added a lock-on feature and fixed some bugs that would cause enemies to fly through the map when they're hit, and also the level transition triggers over here, not actually taking you to the next level, but taking you to the level you just did. So first I'll show off the lock-on feature, since that is the highlight for the last dev work. I also moved the HUD elements to the upper left. So with the lock-on camera, your character will move in the direction you're inputting, but stay facing the direction of the enemy. Typical lock-on stuff. And then I just added a primitive throbber, as it's called in Unreal, to indicate which enemy you're locked onto. I played a lot of character action games after the stream, so that way I could kind of get like a refresher on what I like about those games, and having a throbber on the enemy you're actually locked onto is pretty helpful, because when the game doesn't have it, it really shows. And then just to prove that this is also working on the boss, we'll just load up the level real quick. We'll go say hello, lock on. Now, something I had to do was I found a bug with the boss where if you get too close to the boss, the camera starts freaking out. So in order to fix that, I just increased the hitboxes of the player and the boss. Shouldn't really be noticeable, but you never know with these kinds of things. Alright, let's see. And then yesterday I did some work. That's when I added the lock-on reticle for the HUD. I fixed an issue where when you defeat an enemy, you're still technically locked on. Now it disables your lock-on for you. I made it to where if the wheel lands on your base form, it'll actually change to a combat form. I know we said we're going to work on letting people choose their forms. I still plan on doing that. It's just a matter of taking the time to do so. I just wanted to have something for when we're testing out combat stuff. Let's see, what else? You probably saw it with the lock-on. It's kind of smooth to lock on. It's not like super janky. It's not anything crazy, but I figured having a smoothing camera effect would be nice, and I can just show you that real quick. Here we go. So this is the lock-on logic. Basically just, get the enemy's location, and then make sure that the camera smoothly transitions to look at the enemy based on its current rotation and stuff. Nothing crazy, just very straightforward stuff. What else did I do? Yes, so the lock-on actually attaches the camera to a different spring arm. So here's the default spring arm. Whoops. So that's the camera angle for when you're in default mode. Obviously, we have our spring arm for when you transform, so you have a cinematic transformation sequence. And then I have a slightly angled camera arm for lock-on, so that way you get that kind of side profile to make it easier to see your enemy when you're fighting locked on. Again, nothing crazy, but it's nice to have it. Oh yeah, I fixed dodging. So in just before a couple days ago, if you tried to dodge from a standing position to a random direction, let's say for example, if I went like that, before you wouldn't go very far, because how dodging worked originally was get the player's momentum and multiply it by a direction. And it just led to dodging feeling really inconsistent. And I spent a couple days trying to figure that out. Luckily, it's actually a lot simpler than you would expect. If your velocity is straight 0, I just make you dodge forward. Yeah, so, it's a dash forward. But if you're holding a direction, I basically store... Where is it? There it is. So here are the movement inputs. Basically, before they actually get translated to your character's actual movement, I save your input. And then when you're dodging, I just multiply that by the direction that you want to dodge to, and that's the dodge amount. Launch the character. Nothing complicated. Again, this is all very simple stuff, but it did take me a couple days to figure this out. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? I did some stuff today, before the stream. It's not anything too crazy. There was a bug where if you were in the boss arena and tried to lock onto nothing, it would actually lock onto something. I think it was trying to lock onto the player, but I don't know why that only happened in the boss level. And then the boss level had the wrong camera logic setup, which would be visible here. Basically, it only had this section, which basically says, make the player character face the boss. It didn't have make the camera also face the boss. So it left it at a really strange angle. But now that I've added this in here, now the boss and the enemies have the same view when you lock on. And then this here, victory angle, or I can't talk. Victory camera angle on boss defeat. There we go. Something I think I've talked about for the past couple streams is that when you beat the boss, nothing happens. You're just kind of stuck staring at him. So I did try to work on a victory screen. We can probably run a quick boss rush and see if we can look at it real quick. I will admit I did lose to the boss a couple times testing this, so let's hope I don't do that on stream again. I feel like I get worse at this game the more I playtest it. While I'm thinking about it, I recently found a program that's pretty useful for planning projects. Basically makes a local wiki. Oh shoot, what is that? Hold on, I'm all ears. I'm all ears, Awen. Tell me. Hold on, I'm getting my butt beat. Oh no. No. Oh, that's another bug I gotta fix. When the boss uses a special move, it doesn't turn your lock-on back on. It's called Obsidian. Hold on, let me... Okay, the boss is not attacking me? I have a pen right here. That's probably a bug, but we'll come back to that. Obsidian Project Planner. Okay, I got that written down. I'll check that out later. But yeah, there's the end screen for when you beat the boss. It's just your character in their idle pose. I need to make a widget or user interface that lets you kind of like say, oh, I want to play again, or I want to exit the game, whatnot. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Because I actually do have a goal I want to work on today. Because when I was playtesting this last night, I came to a funny realization. when you beat a level and you run to the end and jump into the next level, it doesn't actually save the form that you were transformed as. So if you transformed into your red form as you enter the final boss, you'll just be back to your base form, but all your batteries are also recharged. Is it really that big of a deal? Probably not. Most character action games I play kind of refresh your stats anyway, but just keep the form that you started as. But I'd like to at least have the system set up so we can test that concept and decide what we want to do with it. So we're basically making a save system today. It shouldn't be too difficult. Unreal Engine makes it really easy to set up save systems. So we'll just go through the motions here. And for anyone who's interested, think of it as like a super simple, here's a way of doing things. So we're going to need a blueprint class. And instead of using any of these, we just type in save game. And then just name it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it the hero save game. And then in here, all we really need to do is set up the variables we want to save. So for one, I want to save the player's current form. And that is based on the... I already forgot what I called it. The enumeration for the different forms we have. Oh, Henshin enumeration. Of course it's called that. Henshin enumeration. Okay, we also want to save the player's health. That way we can treat this little mini game as kind of like a one-shot. We want to definitely save the batteries. So battery array. I forgot what type of variable we used for that. Battery count, integer. Okay, well that's pretty simple. Integer, make it an array. And then I believe it's 4? Yeah, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll set up the default values. Alright, cool. So that's pretty much most of what we want to save, I think. Oh, transformation charge. Where is that? I know I saved that somewhere. Oh, here we go. Henshin charge, integer. So we need another integer. And then this is a single variable. Cool, cool. So now we just need to set up the logic for loading and saving. So I think what we're going to do is just go to our hero character here. And then do we already have an event begin play? We do. Transform into the current form and load the HUD. So we're going to want to do that last. So what we'll do is disconnect to this, set up a sequence here. And first thing we want to check is, does the player have a save game? So does save game exist? And we're going to call it, I don't know. What's a funny save slot name? I don't know. Hero slot? It doesn't have to be that way. We can probably change that later. So get a branch. And then if it does exist, load game from slot. Hero slot. Make sure it's spelled the same way. Yes, it is. Then we'll go cast to hero save game. And then what we want to do is basically just say, what's your information that you're saving, and set it to be these variables. I don't think I said that in the right order, but that's okay because visuals speak louder than sounds. I don't know. So let's get current form. and then we'll set our current form in the actual player character. And then we'll just make this a reroute so that way we can do get henshin charge. Drag that up here and set our charge to be equal to that. Get battery array. Set the array just like that. And then the last thing we need to do is health, right? Yeah, health. So get health. Cool. So now at the start of every level, it's going to ask the save game object, hey, do you have these data points? And if you do, can you please slap them into the player character at the start of the game? Now, what if the player doesn't have a save, right? Well, luckily, all we need to do here is create save game object, select our hero save game, and then basically do all of this again. It's actually not that complicated, thankfully. And because I established some default values in our save game object up here, everything will just be set to default values when the game loads. Now that that's all taken care of, we can add this to our sequence, so that way when the game starts, first thing it does is check for your save, load the save, and when that's all done, then it will let the player spawn in their selected form and add the HUD. Bring up a prompt asking player to insert their PS2 memory card in order to save. Oh, that's funny. I actually have a funny little anecdote for you. One of the first consoles I ever had was a PlayStation 1, and it didn't have a memory card. So for years, I thought people just played games from start to finish for hours. And it wasn't until I got into, like, I think 5th or 6th grade that one of my friends was nice enough to give me a PS2 with the save card. And it was just like, whoa, you can actually like save your progress, and these games are actually like 6 to 8 hours long, if not more. Oh my goodness, how did I think games were like that before? So that's kind of funny to think about adding like a prompt for that. To be fair, most PSX games could be beat in a single sitting. This is true. Unless that game is called, kind of embarrassed to admit this, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the video game. That game is pure torture without a save card, and I genuinely tried to beat it as a kid. I think the furthest I got was like level 3, and it turns out there's 8 levels in the whole game. It was brutal. Save for the 4-disc ones. Oh, like Final Fantasy. Like those games were epics, multi-hour epics. Okay, so we have a system for loading the save. We now need a system to save the game. So I think what we'll do is we're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to let the game mode handle saving. Since it's already tracking, how many enemies are left, we can just kind of, level complete. So maybe what we'll do here is do a sequence node. So when the last enemy is defeated, it'll spawn, just in case the player is standing on that actually when that happens. We'll have the game save first, then spawn the next level trigger volume. So what we'll do is save game to slot. Nope, that's not true. Legends of Dragoon, and a Xenogear Saga. Oh yeah, those are long games. Cast 2 hero character. Wild Arms, that's another long one. That's another long one. Get player character. And then we'll just get health. Actually, I'm doing this kind of out of order a little bit. We need to load the save file to save the game. The game from slots. Hero slot. Then we'll set. Oh, sorry. Cast 2. Hero save game. Set health. We're gonna have to slide all this down a little bit. We just do that. We'll get the player's information here. Cast 2 hero character. So that way we have the data we want to save. Get player character. And then with that pulled, we can then save all these things to the same slot. Get hero, get health. Yeah, there we go. We'll just put that right up there. Although that would be funny, just ask for a different storage media each save. Insert floppy disk to save. I want to say that was actually something someone did for a university game jam of some kind, where they actually did require you to like insert different medias. I don't remember if that's true or not, but I remember hearing this idea before, and I was like, I kind of like that as an idea for a game. Not that I would be smart enough to make it work, but I love that idea for a game. Oops. Track that down here. Set hedge and charge. Set current form. Get current form. We might actually get through this saving and loading thing a lot faster than I was expecting. I was expecting this to take like maybe an hour, but turns out we're not saving a whole lot of information. We can probably expand on that. We probably should expand on that, like having a stat screen. Get battery count. Here we go. Set battery array. Oh, I don't know if anyone keeps up with game engine news. I'm not going to pretend I do very much often either, but I did tune in for this particular bit. Apparently, Epic Games have already announced that they're going to be working on Unreal Engine 6, which, man, this console generation has not felt like it's even started, which is wild. But one of the things that they announced was that this method of programming that I'm doing here, the blueprint visual scripting, they're going to be doing away with that. In favor of something, I already forgot what they called it. It was such a weird name. But they said it was similar to visual scripting. It's just different, but I don't think they elaborated. Granted, I haven't had time to read the whole article either, so maybe they did and I'm missing it. But they said it will still support C++. It's just going to be a different thing. Honestly, maybe... I don't think my take on this is going to be very controversial. I think it's pretty common sentiment. This generation of gaming doesn't feel like it's over. UE5 was fairly unstable, but pushed what lighting and rendering were capable of. Yeah, that's true. I don't see a reason to upgrade what our software is capable of doing, because I don't think people have even managed to harness the power of the current generation of hardware. Um, Pair that with the hardware shortages we're having as of late, like, we're not ready for the next generation, I don't think. UV6 is supposed to be more stable and the language is verse. Okay, if they're aiming for stability, then UV6 makes sense. I mean, I'll give it a try if my laptop meets the requirements, like system requirements, because I'm interested. I'm very interested. Every iteration of Unreal Engine has improved on the previous one, so stability and interconnectivity. Oh, that's right, I did read about that. They wanted all games made in Unreal to have compatibility, and I don't know what that means. Like, if they're trying to do the Fortnite thing, that's cool. I don't know how many other developers are going to take advantage of that though. Um, but I guess time will tell. There was a time where we thought microtransactions were never going to take off. No one's going to pay $2 for a skin. And I mean, we're in a different place now. I mean, I'm guilty of paying for silly microtransactions as well, unfortunately. Imagine all games made in the engine could be highly moddable. You see, that's what I would love to see more of, is easier integration of mod support. Granted, any Unreal developer has it somewhat easier than most because what's it called? Not ModDB. There's a modding tool that you can install as a plugin to Unreal, and it kind of comes with mod support for your whatever project you're working on. I haven't messed with it myself, but it seems pretty easy to work with. So if Unreal 6 makes it even easier than that, then that's pretty great. Okay, we have a save system set up. We should probably test that. We'll jump into level 2 and then jump into the boss arena just to test this. And we'll start by just setting myself up as base form. Okay, yep. So all the batteries are set to max, health is set to max, battery charge is set to 0, not battery charge, Henshin charge is set to 0. I meant to set that as max at the start of the level, but that's okay, we'll work on it. Technically, you can kill these guys in base form, so it's not like I'm completely defenseless, it just takes a lot of hits. I'm gonna try and read that message. Okay, transform. They said one of the options they are adding is that you can make a custom skin or replace the player skin with the one you own from Fortnite, which, if they don't restrict to Fortnite, only makes things more interesting. That is kind of an interesting idea, actually. The fact that you can just self-mod your stuff across games. I kind of like that idea. Although, I do wonder how that's going to work, because skeletal meshes, like, a lot of them are custom for, like, indie devs and AAA devs. Like, sure, if everyone's using Mixamo rigs, then that's one thing, but I'd be interested. I know that Unreal has an auto-rigging system, so maybe they're planning on fleshing that out some more, but again, I'd be super interested to see what they do with that. Oh, the next level thing should not be spawned. We have more enemies. What? Why did I thought I fixed that bug. Oh, that's awkward. Here, I need someone to hit me, actually, so I can make sure that health is saving. Dude, you didn't even try. Okay, that's not much. Can you hit me again? Thank you. Alright, I need charge so badly. I don't know why I was hoping that... Did I just heal? Why did I heal? There's no healing mechanics in this game. They have an advanced retargeting system that makes a default rig with the data of the custom ones All it would need is them to be humanoid and not named Bone 0001 and 002. And that's true. Again, it'll be interesting to see what they do, because Unreal Engine 5 was such a big leap from 4. Not even just on the, like, oh, the graphics, but some of the quality of life features for developers, like pressing B for branch and S for sequence, is such a nice change. There we go. Let's make sure this saves. Okay, so that save system's not working. That's unfortunate. I like the idea of making a character and then just being able to pull it through a bunch of games. I love that too. There's actually a couple of Unity games that support VRM character models, which is the model you see on screen. It's a 3D anime model format, very popular with VR chat and whatnot. But there's a couple of games that I play that support it, so that way you can mod your own like characters in it. Toho Dystopia is probably my favorite example, just because it's a character action game and I can put my VTuber model through it. And I don't know how many people are aware of Mini Wan. I usually stream games with him when he's available, but I have his VRM file saved on my computer, so I put him in as an NPC. It was kind of fun. Most moddable Unity games do, you think? I can believe it. I mean, Unity is the engine that most people use to modify VRM files to support like VR chat and other Unity compatible games. Toho Dystopia is the only one I know where if you just have a .vrm file, you can just throw it straight in there. Usually you need to convert it to a .character file is what I think they call it. And don't get me wrong, Unity engine doesn't take long to install, especially the version you need for it, but it's such a hassle. I'd rather just VRM file on hand, yeah, throw it in there. But that's a convenience thing. It's not anything else really. Okay, event begin play, all this stuff. What if I add a slight delay here? Let's change the henshin charge, because we see that it's loading the information. It's just not loading the, it's not saving. I have seen people running through 7 Days to Die and Valheim as their characters. Ooh, that's pretty sick. I haven't played either game, so I don't know much about them, but I know that they're really popular. Maybe it'd be easier if I just take all this. Here. And then just call it custom event, save game. And just make the combat mode tell the player to save the game. I was doing it the hard way for no reason, so might as well fix that. Save game. And then all we need to do is just grab the stuff. I was talking to a couple of my buddies last week. One of them, we were talking about the results of the game jam and how like all the ideas we came up for the theme, and he came up with like a MS Paint concept for a game that like genuinely you could just use that as a template for your game and it would work. And I was just like, why aren't you making games? He started coming up with some lighthearted excuses, and I was just like, I can teach you Unreal. Like, I'm no pro, but I'm able to make games, you know? If I can make games, you can make games. So I need to text him, but supposedly this week I'll be teaching him some basics about Unreal Engine so he can start making his own projects. And another friend didn't know that I did motion capture for this project. So now he wants me to, well, I shouldn't say he wants me to. He hasn't said anything yet. But he jokingly said, I'd like to make a movie. And I was like, I can link you my equipment that I use for motion capture. And he sounded interested, so I'm kind of excited. I like having my friends be creative. You know, they're really creative people. They just don't do anything with that creativity. If you like grungy survival games, you might enjoy 7 Days to Die. I did not, as the devs are making decisions that feel like someone that learned what games were through Morse code. Valheim is good though, collab game. Yeah, I'm not huge on survival games. I'm not gonna say I dislike them because there's a handful of survival games that my buddies convinced me to play that I ended up enjoying, but survival games are such open experiences that I tend to get stuck on them. I just don't know what to do with myself when I'm playing them. Oh, collab game for my buddy. Pick a micro game idea and work together with it would help learn the process. Yeah, for sure. I also have, it's not in my room. I have a book on my shelf in my actual bedroom, which is actually what I use to start learning Unreal Engine. I actually read the book before I did my 8-hour game jam last year, called Learn Unreal Engine in 24 Hours. Now, it's Unreal Engine 4, first off. Second off, you're not literally learning all of Unreal Engine in 24 hours. It's more so, here are some of the basics of Unreal Engine in 24, hour-long exercises. So each exercise is 1 hour long, and there's 24 exercises. And it ultimately teaches you how to make a top-down shmup, which is kind of fun, you know. That can be a fun thing for him to work through. I offered him the book. I also told him that we can just pick an 80s arcade game and say, like, you know, just replicate the mechanics of this, and here's how to get started. Because that'll teach him things like Unreal Engine's character blueprints, game mode blueprints, level blueprints, AI blueprints, and UI widget blueprints, which is basically what you need to understand to get started. Because all of those use things, you know, like variables, events, sequences, branch. And once you get those basics down, you can start working on bigger and better things. I'm not saying anything new here. I'm saying things that every Unreal Engine developer says at some point or another. But I'm excited. I love the idea of my friend collabing with me on game projects, because we almost did 2 years ago, before I started streaming game dev. Granted, the idea was way out of scope for how little we knew about game dev. We touch on this real quick. I don't know how many people are familiar with a game called Void Crew on Steam, but it's a co-op game where you pick a spaceship and then you tour through kind of like a roguelike series of missions, and then reach the end to kind of cash out on your earnings for that mission. Really fun game. We wanted to try and make a World War II version of that, where you're in a tank. We didn't even know how to make we knew how to make a first-person shooter character. We had no idea how to do vehicles. There was no shot we were going to get that done. But who knows? Maybe if we still like that idea, we can explore that in the future. Okay, saving. Let's make sure this works. So we just need to defeat 1 level's worth of enemies. There's one more thing I wanted to check, actually, before we do that. I regenerated health at some point, and I don't know why that happened. Okay, so apply damage. health minus damage is new health. Is health greater than 0? If yes, just take the hit react animation. Yeah, there should not be a reason we regenerated health like that, from what I can tell. I know at one point I was thinking about having it to be where you regenerate health when you transform, but I regenerated health while in my base form, so that's not necessarily how that should have gone down. Yeah, let's just follow the train here. So we transform, we check if we have Henshin charge and that we're not in the middle of an action. Slow down time, disable movement, play the transformation animation, and change the camera angle. When that's done, that should trigger... I think it triggers this first. It decides your current form, changes all of the meshes. I'm not seeing any float variables in there. And then this down here changes your animations. I'm not seeing any float variables there. Which then leads to return to standard, which puts your camera back at your regular camera spring arm. Sets time back to normal. Hides the transformation belt. Starts the battery drain. Okay, so battery drain only has integers. Then set another timer by event, which is belt charge. This is charging the belt and charging the batteries that are not in use. No float variables there. And then character movement. There's the health reset right there. Why is that so delayed though? Here, just in case, we'll just take that out. And then we'll just monitor that as we go through the levels here. That's awkward. You can change the camera by just locking on during transformations. That's funny. Oh, that's actually good that we got hit. Now we can monitor if the healing really is delayed. Here, hit me again, just in case, please. Thank you. It's one enemy down. Oh, I'm almost out of charge. Ultimate. Oh, the ultimate camera angle is also listed. That's funny. Oh, there's so much work to do. Oh, what the hell? Oh, the enemy is colliding with our camera. And I still got base form? What? Okay. Here. We're gonna start fixing this now, actually. Let's see. Lock on. Changes camera during transformation. Still transforming to base form. And lock on also changes camera on ultimate. So the camera issues are actually pretty easy to fix. It just means I didn't set up the lock-on camera to interact with the other systems, so all we really need to do here is get a branch. Now we'll leave it as true. So we need pending action. We want to make sure that is, whoops, not Boolean. There we go. If this is not true, and we're also not transforming, then and only then can we toggle lock on. So we'll test that now, real quick. So let's lock onto an enemy and transform. Okay, so I did something wrong. Because now I can't do anything. Okay. Lock-on's working, but transforming wasn't working. Why was that? Form shift. Pending action is not true, and henshin charge is equal to 100. That should be working. Oh, I was hitting Q. I wasn't hitting F. Nope, the camera angle's all wrong. Okay, so why is that wrong? Let's see. Let's make this a little easier on ourselves. We'll duplicate this boolean here, call it locked on. If it's A, it's locked on. And I think by default, when we trigger B, it'll unlock on. I think that's how that works. So, form shift. Let's do a branch. If locked on is true, we'll just do toggle lock on just to disable that before we do the camera stuff. And if it's not true, we'll just go straight to it. It should be how simple that issue is. Should be is the key word. Every time I say that, it's not true, but we'll find out. Yep, there we go. And I can't change the lock on, so that's good. Okay, the next issue was the ultimate has the same issue. Special attack, special attack, special attack. God, I feel blind. Where is it? Special attack hit. Special. Here we go. So let's drag this out. And we'll just do another branch, just because it's simple. Are you locked on? Cool. Toggle lock on, please. And if you're not locked on, just do your thing. And that should be relatively easy to quickly test, so let's just jump in. Lock on to an enemy and transform. I can't lock on or unlock on, so that's a good sign. Lock on again, do the ultimate, and I can't lock on or lock off. There we go. Problem solved. That was easy. Let's put that in the bug fix notes. Fixed bug. That, we'll just say messed with camera angles when locked on for special attacks and transformations. Alright, and then the last bug I want to check in on is the one that's still putting us in base form, because I thought I disabled that, but I guess I did not. Here we go. Spin wheel and declare form. Yep, that's the wheel actor. We don't need this. So it spins, spin. Get overlapping components. And then I said, is it if the component tag equals 0, it should have randomized a form up there. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Yeah, get the component tag of the overlapping actor, which should be index 0, and then find that tag in the component tags array, which is saved up here. And if it's equal to 0, get a different index and set the rotation to match the respective color. That's how it should be working. If index equals 0, it does not equal 0. Get the battery. If the battery is greater than 0, transform into the respective form. I mean, everything seems set up correctly. So maybe I just happened to land on a battery 0 form. Maybe that's what happened. That would be rough. But again, we'll be implementing the choose your form thing later, so it's not a big deal. Let's just test the save system now, for realsies this time. So first off, let's exhaust our tension charge. Gaming now. Okay, the bug about the enemies disabling your lock-on when they're dead is apparently back. Don't know how that happened. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna have to fix that too. Nope. And the camera's bugged because the enemy died while I was locked on. Camera got all kinds of bug there. That's crazy. Alright, all enemies are defeated. I am currently in red form with 29 henshin charge, and I'm running out of battery on Mighty. It did not save. Okay. Why aren't you saving, though? Load game from slot. Set that, and then save game object to slot. Save game to slot. Let's add a print string here. We'll say saved game. And we'll add another print string up here that says saving game. Oh, sorry. Print string first. Saving game. Spawn count 1. Spawn enemies. Get all actors of class. Spawn. Spawn enemies. Spawn count. Set enemy spawn count to that times 3. Set timer by event, attack player. Let's lower the amount of enemies spawned just so we can get through the testing. I guess I could have also loaded level 1, but there we go. Oh. Why did I lock onto him again? Thank you. Saving game. It did not save. Okay, so something about the way the game is trying to save is not working. Create save game object. Does save game exists? Hero slot. Maybe if we break this and do this instead. Not gonna lie, when I'm at work and I'm on my break, I will occasionally just pull up the progress videos I posted on Twitter because it still blows my mind that these mocap animations work. I only saw saving game again. Yeah, I didn't think so. Hero slot. Let's just copy that. Paste that everywhere that's relevant. Oh, you know why? Because when we create a save game, we don't save it to slot. That's probably part of it. Maybe not. We'll test in a second. We'll add a print string here as well. Created save game. We'll add another one here. Let's say loaded save game. And then just in case, I'm going to go into the game's files and delete my save. Let's see, saved. Oh, there's just straight up no save file because I didn't save properly. Yep, I knew it. I knew it. Yep, created save game. There it is. So that's our first hint that we were doing everything wrong. We missed a step. We forgot to save the game after we created the save game object. It was saving nothing. Yep. I saw saved game. So now if we jump through here, 60% charge. Okay, it's saved as the last enemy died instead of when we walked through the level transition, so it's not 100% right, but you know what? It works. We implemented saving and loading. Hallelujah. It really shouldn't have been that hard. I was just being a goober. It's funny too, because I had to do this for Cafe des Armes and Ocean War and every project. Every project I've had to implement some form of saving, and I just didn't remember how to do it for some reason. So that's funny. So what we probably want to do is get that next level and have the next level trigger that instead. So on component overlap, let's do a sequence here. Drag that down. Cast to hero character. Get player character. Save game. And then we'll add a small delay so that way the game has a chance to save. 2.2 seconds should be slow enough. And then on enemy defeat, we can get rid of the save game there. Alright, let's test that. Look at that, it loaded our save. Unfortunately, when you load a form, it doesn't drain your battery, so that's something we gotta look at real quick. Event begin play, here we go. So once the saving is taken care of, there's a transformation call here. Current form, do all that. Get the models. Return to standard. But it's asking the wheel for the index. Yep, and the wheel doesn't have an index saved. So... we can just get rid of this and just say wait, what did it say before? I had it in my head and I lost it while I was typing it up. Okay, here we go. So is the index equal to 0? Okay, so basically is current form base form? Is current form equal base form? Or not equal to? Not equal enum base form. And if that's true, start the battery drain. Nope, our battery is still charging. Okay, so that's not good. Is current form not equal to base form? Yes, it is Titan form. Cool, then do the battery drain thing. Oh, but it's doing it based on the index again. Right, that's why we use the index. That's right. So maybe what we need to do Here we go. Before we do transformations, we'll get child actor, cast 2, Henshin wheel actor, set Henshin index. Alright, how do we set this? There's a way to do it, and I'm just forgetting. To integer? I doubt it, but we could try it. Oh, it's working. Wow. Okay, cool. Battery's draining. That's progress. Can't believe that worked. Cool. What were we trying to do? Right, we're testing if the game's saving on level exit instead of last enemy defeated. 2, 3. Oh, and we still need to fix the enemy lock-on camera. That's right. When they die, the camera is bugging out again still. Oh, that's unfortunate. For him. Oh. Really? I fixed it, though. Man! Just can't win with this. Alright, save on level exit. Hey! Cool. Anyway, camera stuff. So I have event tick lock on target is valid. So I think what we should also do is probably do another branch here. So that way we have a do nothing. So if locked on's true, then do your stuff, but if locked on is false, do nothing. Right, that's not the only thing we need to do. Stop. The other thing we need to do is make sure that the enemies actually tell the player to toggle lock on. Enemy BP. So I have it say, if you're the lock-on target, toggle lock-on before you die. So why is that not working? It was working, and then it stopped working. When I toggle lock-on, do I clear the target? Looks like I clear it. Well, let's just test if maybe the solutions we implemented just work. Nope, I'm still locked onto him. Okay. Cast a hero character. Is the lock-on target equal to you? If yes, toggle lock-on. If not, set lifespan. Okay, what if we do silly logic here and just say, yeah. Just disable the player lock-on. Wait, hold on. I think I might have figured out what it was. Go to our lock-on bindings. Toggle locked on. No, I did set it up correctly. I thought I maybe forgot to plug this in, but no, it's in there. Oh, you know what? I bet it's because the player in the middle of a combo is being told they can't toggle it. So what if I just force it? Yep, that was the issue. I made it to where the force disable lock on wasn't allowed to do it because players in the middle of a combo for whatever reason. God, I can't believe I did that to myself. Well, that's cool. Let's add that to our stuff here. Oh, I forgot to even add the fact that we added saving. Added saving and loading between levels. Let's see, we fixed a bug with lock on camera, boss angle, bug, master camera angles for social select left hand. Fixed bug that had lock on stuck to dead enemies. Cool. Cool. Then I think the one thing I want to do is when you beat the boss, a different kind of save happens. I say different kind of save. Essentially, New Game Plus, it just wipes your save, resets the values. So we need to come up with something like that. I forgot where I stored the boss defeat stuff. It's probably just in the boss himself. I think we talked about how the boss is just going to manage everything himself. Let's see. Here we go. Yep. When the boss dies, he just controls everything. So maybe we'll just tie that into the character widget then. I have this set up here where when you beat the boss, idle animation, and it's supposed to spawn a widget. There's nothing in the widget right now, so we'll set that up right now, actually. And before I do that, I'm actually going to drink some water, because I am so thirsty now. Okay, so let's close everything we're not using. Like this. So we'll go to our widgets and go to end of level screen. And then we'll just set up some cool stuff, some visually interesting stuff. So we'll start with a border. We'll keep it in the top left. So let's make it 500 by 250. Yeah, sure. 50 and 50. Add another border on that. We'll make the inner border white and make the outer border, I don't know, blue? Wrong thing. This one. We'll go with this blue. And then we'll make it, I think this is what controls it, padding 5, 10, there we go. So now we have this little border. We'll grab a vertical box, and we'll start putting some text in here for the victory screen. We'll say mission complete. Make sure that text is black, please. Maybe instead of black text on a white background, we'll do white text on black background, actually. Brush color. Yeah, it looks a little better. Looks a little bit better. Then we just need to fill, make sure it's centered, and then we'll give it a top padding of 5. Yeah, it looks pretty decent. Cool. So we'll give it some outlines as well. Instead of black, what if we go with the same blue? Maybe a darker blue. Play with it. We'll play with it as we go. Mission complete. What are some fun stats that we would want to track? Maybe time completion, time completed. That could be fun. Here, hold on. If we're gonna do that, we're gonna need a horizontal box. Do time. And then we'll just put, I don't know, 0, 0, 0. Just as a stand-in text. Make sure the horizontal box also fills. Is there any other stats that we want to track other than maybe enemies defeated, which it's not controlled by much. And just in case, we'll do that. So we'll just duplicate this. Enemies defeated. Well, that's not good. Maybe we can just make this a little bit bigger. And then just to see what that looks like, where's event begin play? We'll make that our default HUD just so we can see what that looks like. And we can use the transformation sequence to see if it fits what we need. Except I don't know how much charge I have, so that's kind of unfortunate. Here, let me delete my save game now that it actually exists. That should give us back 100% charge. Okay, no, that fits pretty well. That fits pretty well. Alright, time to completion, enemies defeated. I don't think there's anything else we would want to track. It's kind of a simple game. And we'll come up with more as we go. In the interim, let's set up a couple more things so we can keep track of that stuff. So first things first, we want to set up a way to track time to completion. So we'll add another sequence here. Set timer by event. We'll make it every second. Promote to variable. We'll call this speed run handle. And this will just basically tell the timer whether it's running or not. Make a new custom event. and we'll call it track time. And then one of the first things we do when we save the game is we will just clear and invalidate this timer. That way the stop clock is set. Which also means I should probably reopen the save game object. But we'll come back to that. We need to set up a few more things. So let's add a new category. We'll call it time. So that way we don't get this all cluttered too much. It's already kind of cluttered. We'll just call it, throw some of these variables into a folder. Anything that's tracking the player's forms and how it shifts, we'll throw it up there. Yeah, that cleans it up quite a bit, actually. Wow, okay. So track time, we're going to need a couple integers. I actually had to build a timer like this for work, so this is going to be relatively simple to set up. First, we need a seconds variable. Make that an integer. Sure I can see everything here. Basically, we're going to check, does the value of the seconds equal 59? Small fireworks. Are people shooting fireworks in my neighborhood? It's still early in the day, kinda. Minutes. Anyway, so if seconds is at 59, we'll set seconds back to 0 and increment the minutes. But if seconds is not equal to 59, we can just increment this. Let me make sure we set the HUD back to normal real quick. Might need to add a timer to the HUD now, so that people can see the clock. But first, let's make sure we're saving this. So go back to player BP, hero save game, seconds, minutes, and then we can go to our save games here. Set seconds. And set minutes. Cool, now we just gotta set up functionality to view these values so we can make sure that's working. So what we're gonna do is just go to our widgets folder, grab our HUD, How to do this? Maybe have the timer on the top right would probably be appropriate. So we'll grab a border. Set that to top right. Do 50 by 50. Okay, I guess negative 50 by negative 50. And then do 500 by 100. Negative 550 then. And then negative 150, 150, 150. Okay. And then we'll just do the same thing we did with the other stuff. Just give it a blue. Do that. Make it black. Add some padding. Grab some text. Make sure it's centered. Center it like that. Give it some outline, give it some color. And then we'll create a binding. Get timer. And this is pretty easy, just we need to get a toText from string. Get an append node. Set b to be a semicolon. Then just cast to hero character. Get player character. Get seconds. Get minutes. And hook it up like that. Now the real test is going to be A, is that being tracked? And B, does it carry over to the next level? So let's go ahead and test that. Well, that's not very encouraging. So let's take a look at that. Hero character, minutes and that. Oh, I didn't check looping. Whoops. Then also just add. Nah, that's actually gonna be fine. So we see the seconds are counting up. It's not a fancy looking timer, but we can fix that in a minute. Okay, so minutes is less than 10. This is gonna get ugly really fast. Nah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's gonna get really complicated for a small thing. Pretty sure. Yeah, I thought so. Let's see where this takes us. So what does that look like? Not much different. That's okay. It's working. Now we just need to test if it's working through saves. That's what I meant to do. Yep. It'd be really funny if people took speedrunning this game seriously and are like, oh, Pegasus form? F tier on speedrunning. Don't ever get his form. He is pretty slow though. It didn't save. Are you serious? It must be saving too fast. Now adding a small delay is really going to be the fix for this, but it's worked a couple of times so far in this project, so might as well just give it a whirl. Oh, that's not good. Should have known. Such tedious process testing some of the game's mechanics just because of the random wheel. I really need to just implement the choose form feature. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Why? It feels random when it does that too. Alright, 1 minute and 18 seconds. It did not carry over. Man. Save seconds. Oh, you know what? Because I'm not loading it. I'm not loading it. Yeah, I'm not loading it. That's my issue. I bet you it's actually saved, and once we tell it to load, it'll just load it all. Get seconds. Get minutes. Plug that up like that. And I bet you once we load in, it's going to repopulate it with the 1 minute and 17 seconds. Oh, 49 seconds. Okay, so it's probably pulling from a different save, but at least that's working now. Yeah, we'll work on the design of the timer another time. It's not that important, really. We'll just add it to the end of level screen and go on from there. So, timer. Level screen. Create a binding. Really just steal all of this. Because when the screen spawns, it's just going to ask the player, what's your current... Actually, I guess in that case, we should probably pull from the save slot instead of the player character. Because the game is still going to tick in the background. So load game from slots. Hero slot. Cast to hero save. Get minutes. We'll make sure the game saves on boss defeat, which takes like a second to set up, so let me just do that. So let's get the boss. Cast a hero character. Save game. So as he's doing his defeat animation, he'll do his little, oh, you beat me. We should probably also, cinematic as possible, remove all widgets. So we got something there. Again, not keeping track of all this. Health, current form, tension charge, batteries, seconds, minutes. Cool, cool. Is there anything else I wanted to work on? I have a little index card that I filled out yesterday about things I wanted to work on. Let me take a look at that real quick. So we added saving. Let's see. We don't have a game over screen. We don't have a win screen. That's what we were working on a second ago before I got distracted. So maybe we'll finish that up real quick. Do that. So we'll need a button. Maybe what we'll do is just have another... Let's extend this down 100. And then we'll add a horizontal box. And then we'll add 2 buttons. Fill. Fill. And then we'll call this one restart run. And we'll call this one main menu, which we don't have, by the way. That's another thing we need to work on. There's so much to work on. Alright, we'll give these buttons some color. So background color, I think should just match the theme. Or actually don't buttons get an outline color, or did I imagine that? They kind of do, hold on. Outline settings. Yeah, it's got an outline now. That's cool. So maybe we can just make the outlines a little thicker then. Get some text. actually, just to save us some time, just duplicate that. Restart. Main menu. That looks like it's the wrong order, doesn't it? Yeah, that looks more appropriate. Games have conditioned me. It's always left to return to main menu, right to restart or resume. That's cool though. And then we can add functionality to restart right now. So what we'll do is we'll jump down here, on clicked. Then all we need to do is well, I don't think we need to delete the save. But we certainly need to get the saves file back to default values. Yeah, I don't want to delete the save because I want to do enemies defeated. Maybe just do like basic enemies defeated. Boss enemies defeated. Maybe highest combo in a level would be kind of fun. Fastest time. Seconds. So what we need to do is load game from slot. Well, let's make it a sequence. Hero slot. Cast to hero save game. Set health. $100. Set current form to base form. Set henshin charge to 100. Set battery array, which is not as simple as that, unfortunately. We gotta do a make array. Do 100, 100, 100. There we go. Just throw that on top of it like that. Make it a hat. Okay, was there anything else? Current form, health, battery, henshin charge. Minutes and seconds will need to be set back to 0 as well. Set seconds to 0. Set minutes to 0. And then once all that is done, save game to slots. Hero slot. Open level by name. Level. I think it's called level for the first level. Technically I have a tutorial level too, but it's not, there's nothing there yet. Yeah, it's just called level. Cool, so we've got some functionality to that. Let's see, this one is basically get clear time. Call them ins, why not? Okay, now that we got a somewhat functional end screen created, we can cross that off the list. We don't have a game over screen, so that's something we can probably take this level screen and just change this text. Just do create binding, promote this text to a variable, call it a game over text. So we'll do a cast to hero character, get player character, and then we'll get is dead. So if the player is dead when this widget is constructed, we'll say you died. Can't go wrong with you died. It's my favorite game trope. And then if they're not dead and the screen pops up, mission completed. Now we just need to attach that to the player when they die, which is controlled by something in here. Here we go. Alright, is health greater than 0? False. Play the knockdown animation, set is dead to true. Instead of disable input, set input mode UI only. We're gonna need a little more room. Set show mouse cursor to true. Move all widgets. Create widget. End of level screen. Add to viewport. So we can test this by letting the enemies kill us, and by enemies I mean I'm gonna go straight to the boss room because he just straight up does more damage. Oh, that camera came back to me way too quickly. Did that last attack not fire off? Oh no, it's firing off. He really loves hitting me with that 3-hit combo. Wanna use your other attack? There we go. You wanna finish me off with a super move? No? Okay, bye. That time is not accurate, so we'll need to fix that too, but if we hit restart, I don't have control of my character. That's not good. So let's go to the blueprint for that. Set input mode, game and UI. Get player controller. Set show mouse cursor to false. That should fix that issue. In theory. In theory. Come on, use your super move. It kills me way faster. Are you good? Are you not gonna fight anymore? Oh, there he goes. Okay, it's not capturing my mouse on the level load. So maybe just... Oh, do not lock. Lock always, maybe. One more try. Okay, and then restart. Still not quite working. Lock on capture. Come on. There we go. Still not quite. I'm not sure why that's not working. Maybe it's a project settings thing. Default viewport mouse lock mode. Lock on capture. Okay. Maybe I'll look into it later. It's not that big of a deal for the moment. I'm also playing it in viewport mode instead of standalone, so maybe that'll make it work better. We'll run this test, and then whether or not it works, I'll probably just call it a night, because I've got an early morning tomorrow, unfortunately. Ugh. What's going to be fun about standalone mode is that it actually like compiles the game, so that way it actually runs like native frame rate instead of the frame rate of the viewport editor. I don't think I explained that correctly, but it feels smoother to run games in standalone mode than viewport testing. So haven't tried that with this project, so I'm pretty excited. Although this is eating up my RAM like crazy. Any second now. This might have been a mistake. I am trying to run standalone mode while streaming, which might not have been the best choice. Oh boy. Well, let me grab a new note card and start preparing for... Oh, is it gonna load? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I captured my mouse right away, so that's a good start. I can't control my character. I can't move. I can't fight back. He's just gonna pummel me in the corner. Oh, I got control. Okay, so maybe the controls were loading? I don't know, that was weird. Alright, come kill me. Okay, now we restart. Yeah, it's also not capturing my camera. Oh, I don't have a pause button. No. There we go. Okay, let me grab a note card and I'll write down what we need to work on. Well, I'll be working on for a while. I say that, but I actually have a section in my Word document for this. So we also added a timer. Add a timer to track player playtime per run. Added game over / mission completed screen. To do bug fixes and cinematic for boss death scene. That's done. Reset on level load. That's done. Mouse is not captured on reset run. We need a pause menu, so we'll add that to the finished features. I do have main menu in here, yeah? Yeah, I do. There we go. Save game with stats. So that's kind of done. It's just the stats part that's not done. So I'll figure that out. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's stream. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be streaming again until Sunday. I'll put that on the schedule before I head to bed tonight. But hopefully I'll squeeze in some time to get some of these fixes in place. So that way we get closer to actually finishing this project and releasing it. Because I think we spent way too much time on this, if I'm being honest. Granted, the scope was way too big to begin with. Let's see, we started this back on June 19th. It's been almost a month. Yeah. But we'll get it done. We'll get it done. Anyway, thanks to everyone who tuned in. It's always a pleasure to do these kinds of streams. It's fun to talk through dev work, because when I do dev work by myself, it's just kind of lonely. Or worse, at work, I'm the only one who knows what I'm talking about, which isn't saying a lot. So it's kind of nice to be able to talk with you guys in chat about game dev stuff. But yeah, that's going to be it for the stream. I'll put up the schedule for Sunday's stream. But otherwise, I will see you all next time.